Let's see here. All right. Let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're live. We got 2 people here. Oh man, I'm still. Hey, Diane Jeffers. We just got up from a session about an hour and a half.
Wow.
It was pretty. Yeah, it was pretty intense.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't see it because I was still installing stuff and.
Oh no, I'm talking about here. Morgan and I. We were here in the hotel room. We knew we needed to connect. Turn the volume down. You're not plugged in. Yeah. Okay.
In the honeymoon weeks now, eh?
Diane says she can't hear. Go out and come back in. Yeah, it's the honeymoon week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Sixtina, how you doing? So we got 16 people in the house.
Nice. I didn't do any sharing yet.
Oh, it's okay. You just keep on doing whatever you want to do. You're good.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you what happened to me.
Yeah, tell me. I'm very curious.
So we went through like 10 days of a massive interaction with people. People came in. They came in on the 9th. So today's the 18th.
Yeah.
We got here yesterday, the 17th. So for what, 8 days, we were around a lot of energy. We had the event, and then we had the ceremony, and there was a lot of stuff going on before and after. So
yeah,
Morgan and I haven't really ever been alone. Last year she came for 10 weeks, and we were alone for one night. The first night we met, we slept in a hotel room for about 3 hours. So we had to get her off one plane. She took a shower. I went and got some stuff for us to have a bite or whatever, and then we went to bed. We got up at 6 o'clock in the morning. So that's the only time we've ever been anywhere that we didn't have anyone else around. So anyway, this time it's been the same time. So after all this powerful stuff that happened, we got to a hotel last night.
Yeah.
So I guess it's kind of our honeymoon. It wasn't planned that way. So let me ask you. Now you see this right here? Look at this. You see this? Do you guys have these in Europe? Y'all have these in the hotel rooms where they don't have the hanger on it?
You can hang them on
yeah. So they have them on there, right? So last night we get to the hotel, and we ate something, and then we ended up laying down, and we were just going to connect, right? And in my head, I had the same thing she had in her head, but we didn't know it. We didn't disclose it to each other. I said, I'm going to tell her, and I don't mean in a physical way, I mean in a etherical way, while we're laying together, how much I love her, right?
Yeah.
And she had it in her head. She was going to tell me the same thing. So it happened. So we had another one of those experiences. I don't know what she saw, but I know what I saw. And what I saw was her face I told you this before, it happened before. Her face started morphing into all these different incarnations that I know her in. And they were off planet and human and non-human. And so one of them is like the essence that she aligns with, like the goddess Kali, you know?
Yeah, Kali, the one with the thoughts.
The one that can look scary and all that. She doesn't scare me, but let me tell you what happened. So we got up this morning, and so what ended up happening was we started talking about it. And I said, and she was saying, well, do you know what happened? I said, yeah. I started telling her what happened. And she said, well, let me tell you what I was doing. And she says, I was putting my hand on your heart, and I was telling you how much I loved you and this and that. And I was seeing that. I was seeing all of her incarnations, all their different faces, even Kali, the Kali essence, looking at me, and her face was like half black, half white. Her tongue was like hanging out down to here, and she's looking at me, but I knew she loved me. So I was kind of like joking around, because I'm like you, I like to joke around. And I was joking around, and I was not being disrespectful, okay, at all. And she asked me, she goes, are you being a smart aleck? And I'm like, no, I'm just having fun with it. I mean, it's pure love, So I go over to the hanger, and I pull my shirt off, and I pull it off right in that moment. And she's got her back to me, thinking to herself, is he being a smart ass? And this thing right here, this little point right here, went flying in the air and hit me right in the middle toe on my left foot, right in the middle, right under the nail, like so hard. Oh my God. I never felt so much pain in my life. It was all concentrated on my toe. I mean, I thought I was on the verge of death.
Yeah.
And then the blood came up, and she saw it. She just started laughing. She laughed the whole time. Oh my God. Yeah, it was funny. Yeah. Peace, love, happiness, and humor. It was funny.
Yeah.
I'd show you my toe, but I don't want to scare everybody. But
yeah.
we took pictures. I'm actually going to do a post on it because it was a beautiful experience, and it was nice because it had the Linda says that was Callie. You're lucky you didn't get your soul knocked. Yeah. Well, yeah. So anyway, yeah. Don't fool with the goddess.
No.
Don't have any misunderstandings with the goddess, right?
So
there was a show on right before this, Taking Your Power Back with Sarah Richardson and Angela Mia White, and they were talking about the energy of the past week. Morgan did a great post on it last night, a fabulous post. A lot of people talking about what's been going on the last week, which is what you and I usually talk about. How's it been over in your neighborhood?
Yeah, it's been very good, but very intense because nobody can walk away anymore for their inner and outer movements, I notice. So it's impossible to not be realistic and to not be confronted with everything that is in the way of being authentic.
Yeah.
And for some people it's intense, and for others it's liberation. So Well, I wonder what the toe you talking about. Which toe was it? Because I have a drawing here for my neck.
Oh my God, the synchronicities! What is this going to be like? Oh.
She's doing a foot reflex.
Okay, so it was the left toe. I mean, the left foot middle toe.
Left foot middle toe.
Yeah. What does that talk about?
The sinus points. It says sinus. Is that something in the nose or something?
It probably has something to do with my snoring.
Okay.
God, this is funny. Yeah, because I snore quite a bit, and I kept telling her I have a sinus problem. I don't normally snore that bad, but I do snore not that bad. And so I think what happened is the aspect of her that aligns with the goddess Kali decided she was going to punish me and fix my sinuses at the same time. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, because it's connected to the sinus.
I probably won't be snoring anymore.
Well, you can do a tennis ball in your neck, also. In the pyjama.
Yeah.
I guess you're not wearing a pyjama at night.
A pajama?
Yeah.
No, I don't wear pajamas.
No, me neither.
So I got this on par with what you're talking about. I got a message from a friend of mine yesterday, and we were going back and forth, and she said something here. She said, "Spirit does not need a wardrobe or a costume."
Yeah.
And that's along the lines of what you're talking about.
Yeah, we're just naked, and there's nothing to hide anymore, and so beautiful.
And so like Morgan's comment or Morgan's post last night was talking about the two types of the two phases of the energy. I believe there's just two energies. There's pure love and there's not pure love, right? There's true and there's what's not true. That's all we can say, truth and the illusion. And she was talking about how people are projecting. That's one way of doing it, because we know if you're externalizing anything, you're not focusing on yourself. And two, kind of I want to say like a false earth love or adoration, which is the same thing. Again, you're giving away your power, you're giving away your focus. But back to what you're saying is, the unauthentic just doesn't fly anymore because it's in your face. And we talked about this a month ago, 2 months ago, but it's even more now.
Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, for some people it's really difficult because they have been playing a role all their life, and they have invested so much energy into that it's really hard to give it up. But it looks then so phony that, yeah, at a certain moment, I think the bubble must burst. But I think a lot of people are in resistance towards it or in denial. But you cannot get away anymore. People can't get away anymore. I can't
No.
get away. No. So it doesn't make any sense. And if we are moving to the 5D, there is not the limitations of the 3D body visions. We see much more. Then it's even more naked than now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. So
Yeah.
we were pulling cards yesterday. Morgan's got these really cool cards. They're really, really cool.
Which ones?
I don't remember what they're called, but there's two. You pull two different ones. One of them has a word.
Yeah.
And you get what you get from the word, and the second one is a picture, right? And they're somewhat abstract pictures to a degree.
Yeah.
So we were pulling it with our friend. We just felt like we needed to do it. We had some alone time, and we were all fixing to go our different directions. And one of the things that came up was, what were you just talking about? Because I forgot now. You were talking about, let's see, there was a.
Yeah, we cannot hide things anymore because, and if we're tending to the 5D or the multidimensional.
No, the word naked. I pulled the card. I pulled the card naked.
Wow.
And what it came to me was that really and truly that being naked is where we're at, like totally where we're at. It's being totally naked, and that I found in my journey that when I've got to that point, uncomfortable or comfortable or not, that's the purest vulnerability, the purest raw part of me. And that is also the most powerful part of me, because it's nothing but the truth. When you're naked, there's nothing but the truth, you know? So it may not feel comfortable to the human part of us, but it is so liberating. And I have learned, and I think that's what came to me, I was able to verbalize it yesterday morning, was that I've realized now that because there's so much we learn and we know, and then we don't know, and we don't know what to do, and it's 3D and it's 5D and it's this and it's that, that the one thing that I know that's working for me is that if I can just strip it down to nothing, that I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. If it's a feeling of pain or confusion, or whether it's a feeling of a transmission that came in that I know it's true, whatever it is, to stay in the power of well, what is it? You're just naked. I mean, there's nothing there.
Yes. Stay in the silence, in the center of your heart, and in the quiet place, and from there observe it. And if we're able to stay there naked, then everything falls into its place by itself. So, but it is very vulnerable. Yeah, I can tell you that, because we still sometimes have sometimes things we are ashamed of, but it all has to be stripped down, because that's all the illusion and the guilt and the shame, and that's what keeps us imprisoned.
Yeah,
and I see Annette also now. She's transforming very fast.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, she's even also bought cards. That's nice for the synchronicity. And that's not her, and they give exactly the right answers she needs in that moment. So
I was never a believer in that. Okay, I mean, I've done it with Morgan a few times, and they've always been magical, you know. But yesterday was really magical, because our friend, the first card she pulled up was I can't remember the word card, but it was death, basically. It was death. It showed a grave. Yeah, it showed a grave, and it showed a mask. And so when I got to me, I was like, well, you know, and the word was game. That's what it was. The word was game. So I'm looking at it going, you know, game. Yeah, game.
Oh, game or game?
Game. Game.
Game, yes.
Yeah, but
hi, Morgan.
Go ahead.
I'm saying hi, Morgan.
Oh,
hello.
So I was like, and it had a mask, and I was like, and it's what you were talking about. It's what you're talking about. It's what my friend messaged me about. That
But
spirit.
that shouldn't apply to you, I think. That
Huh?
card.
How did it apply?
It did. Yeah. Well, how did it apply to you then? Because
well, no. What I said, what I got from it was that the whole game is death, because there is no death. You know.
Yes.
And then the reason I brought it up, that part of it up, is because of what you said at the beginning and what my friend wrote me yesterday, which was about the mask. So you were saying that people have had these masks on for so long that they're having a real hard time, detaching from them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when it comes down to self-love, loving the true self, and being able to liberate that and stand for that, and then the energy starts to flow and everything starts to work sort of automatically.
Yeah.
And that is scary when everything suddenly goes so right and so good. And of course there always will be challenges, but
Well, we were talking about this yesterday because Morgan has a ticket to go back on the 2nd of July.
Oh, to Australia.
Yeah, I mean because when you leave, when she left to come here, you had to have a return ticket within 12 weeks to comply with the visa, right? Okay. So and then we had started to get some traction and get some resources into Soulogy, and then we put on this event, and it costs quite a bit of money and all that, and then here we are. I mean, it costs money to be doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
And so we're in that place of unknowing. But we know, we're all three talking about it. We know we're multidimensional. We know we're hearing from our other aspects. We know we're integrating them. But at the same time, here we are stuck in this game that we designed for a higher purpose. And we are having to take steps that don't integrate with the old patterns that we came from. We're establishing new ones. And it's a little bit scary sometimes,
Yes. But that's the nice thing of it. It makes people humble, because if it was all multidimensional, we wouldn't have to take care of our body, and we would feel invincible, and then there's nothing to lose and to take care of us. So our weakness is also a great teacher then, or our sensitivity and everything.
Yeah.
So and then trust comes in. Are you going to Australia?
Oh, we don't know. We're just taking it one day at a time.
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
We're taking it one day. And that's something that we have really experienced over the last 10 weeks, 10 weeks, is we've both, just without even speaking it, just realized that all that magic is in the day. So much can happen in a day.
Yes.
I mean, I don't want to be, but just as for the sake of an example, not that I would play it because I don't believe it, but you could win the lottery in a day. You could fall into the perfect situation in a day. I mean, so to me, it's all the energy that you put out during the day that creates the magic that has repercussions beyond it. Like in my own life, it's broadcasting. I know the more I get on, the more programming we have on there, then the more equal exchange from the universe we get. And it's not always easy to see from the human level, but it's like we were saying that morning. We know that the only place to operate is in the unknown. And the last card that was pulled was a picture card of somebody putting cards down, but not like dealing cards, but like telling tarot or whatever. And so the cards there were 7 cards down or 6 cards down, and there was the hand about to turn the other card over. Well, the word card that went with it was grief. So it got to me, and I was like, well, you know what? I've got to the point now where I don't like grief. Grief as being like trouble. You know what I mean? Like troubles. And I said, I don't like grief. But if we hold the card, we're going to have the grief of not knowing what we could have gone for, what we could have achieved, right? So you got to put the card down. You're playing the game, put the card down. Because to know is not to know. And to operate in the unknown in this time, in this transition, is the only thing that works, because we tried everything else, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's something I wrote once from knowledge never knows, because it's constantly changing and constantly new and evolving. And so it's always stepping ahead of itself. Because if it was a static thing, then it wouldn't be alive.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's always so strange, eh? You cannot grip on it, but that's also part of the nakedness and the total vulnerability and being able to stay in this silence. The silence that can speak, of course, but in the midst of all, find that spot.
There seems to be some type of epidemic as I'm looking at these comments.
Yeah.
Michelle Mueller just recalled that she knocked her left middle toe on the fridge door last night.
Ah.
So, so there must be part of that. It must be reflective of the energy.
Yes.
Must be some type of physical manifestation of the energy.
I'm going to ask Annette what it is for. She treats me on my big toe, and then I started to cough.
Yeah.
In the middle, and that was I didn't know anything about it, but that's exactly the place where the throat was, and it's so amazing that she sometimes presses on points.
Yeah.
And that exactly, and there was a hard place on the
on the hand
side of my foot, and that was resonating with the shoulder, and my shoulder was a bit sore. So yeah, it's so amazing how that works. But it's also in the ear. They say there is your whole. It's like a fetus or something, and this is at the head, and in the hands also. So yeah, magical.
Well, yeah, and I was thinking about you last night when we were having this sacred sexual etherical connection, because she put her hand on my heart. Wow. And and so I was seeing all the faces and everything. Yeah. But I also had a big smile on my face most of the time, unless I was trying to figure out what I was looking at. Because sometimes I was like, whoa. And sometimes the whole face would just disappear, and I'm like looking into the window of the universe, right? But I started to get this sensation. I really was. I thought about you for a second, because I've had a lot of Kundalini experiences, but this one started at my feet. It started coming up my feet, and it got pretty intense when it got to my solar. And as it was in that range between the sacral and the solar, I thought about the story you told me about when you had your first Kundalini experience, and but I'll tell you what happened. It was really amazing. Was it finally broke? It was like the solar came in, and then it broke, and it went into the lower heart, and then it just jumped. It almost was like a throb. It just like a pulsation of the heart, and it just like burst into the higher heart. And what reminded me of it is what you said about what you were just talking about, and it started to tickle in my throat chakra, and I just had to open my mouth because someone just said it here. Michelle just said it, sacred orgasm. So I had one literally in my legs, in my root, in my sacral, my solar definitely, my heart's definitely, and in the throat was almost like it didn't get past the throat though, and I don't think that was a bad thing. But the scratching just turned into, I just had to open my mouth and just like, it was amazing.
Yeah, that is strange. Yeah, Annette experienced it like that. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about that, but that's sort of an orgasm in the throat or something. And
sure it is.
Also, it feels like an opening of love energy from a higher frequency, but amazing. But they say, I don't know if that's true, that it takes 7 years for each chakra to fully blow open. So
I don't know. I think all the old rules are gone now.
Yes, exactly.
I think everything's changed. There's something I want to address, because these shows are all about being naked, right? Being authentic and real. And so this Janie is talking about something here, and the reason I'm going to bring this up is because this is something I think that came in last week. And I say that for a lot of reasons. She said, I don't know what's going on with me. Last night I got in a fight with my twin flame, and I punched him because he started yelling at me. I know this is horrible, but I'm keeping it real. I feel bad about this. I was afraid. I think that And somebody else said it today. Oh, Angela Mia White and Sarah said it today when they started their show. And I'll relate this back to her comments. They were saying how the last week was really powerful. And there were people that were thinking of suicide and other things that are less than pretty. Okay. And what Angela was saying is that these things were presenting themselves to be removed for the last time.
Yeah.
I think there was a lot of extreme polar energies, polarities coming in from both ends of the spectrum. And I saw through a transmission last Wednesday morning something very similar. And it was a collective energetic experience. It was an experience where our darkest aspects were being shown to me, but also being shown that it was all of us, that it's no different than our lighter aspects. So I think there is a lot of pressure. We talk about the physical and emotional and mental strain of these energies, but also I think it shows up in just us trying to be human, you know?
Yes.
So I would just say go easy on yourself, because you're not the only one, Janie.
Exactly. And I think it's part of the healing. And if she goes through that and she heals the whole of humanity with that, because it's right. All of us. It's all the traumas, all the past life experience, the separation, the pain we had from relations, and it's all coming out, and we're facing that, and then we sometimes project it on our partner, and we feel very vulnerable, and we think the thing we love and that loves us is the danger, because it can hurt us so much, and it's what causing all those intense emotions to come up. But now the thing is to stay there in love and acceptance and talk about it, and because it's something that is very hard to control and to stand in totally silent. It has to be transformed into another. It has to be seen and to be understand also by the partner, by the other one, what is going on and what is behind it, and just we go deeper and deeper and deeper inside that realization and healing of the true self, of who we are, naked as a child, vulnerable, open, and as the new human consciousness towards each other. So
and like you said, you know, anytime that you transform as an individual, as goes the individual, so goes the collective. So you are actually healing the collective. But by the same token, on the other end of the spectrum, that also means that we have to physically embody things, because the collective is experiencing it collectively, so we feel it as an individual. So I'm trying to tell her that this is not just something unique to her, it's everywhere. And a lot of other things that we're experiencing, such as getting your middle toe and your left foot banged.
Yeah, and it's very important that we communicate about it, and that is why it's so good that she shares it with us, because a lot of us will recognize it and then can make the space of that for understanding and forgiveness and healing. That is the healing. Showing the wounds, touching the pain, being able to stay there with that. If it was easy, then it wouldn't be love if it was all roses and moonshine. So,
but we're getting more of that. We're getting. Thank you, Janie. We're getting more of that. We're getting more roses and sunshine.
Yeah, sure. And it's also good to find it in those times, and to be able to laugh about it, and see the fun of it. Don't take it too serious then.
Yeah, and then, you know, if you look at one of the 4 agreements with Don Miguel Ruiz, is don't take it personal. So, because if you think about that, you know, if you really think about what that means, if you do take something personal, what are you doing? You're not taking it to yourself. You're directing that onto someone else with blame, projection, anger, you know, shame, whatever. So, and I think that's more important, because we're in a quantum phase of this transition now. We've gone beyond where we were, and everything is moving very, very rapidly. So these things that might have meant something on a smaller scale, they take a wider meaning now.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, but it's sometimes when people, some of us treat people, it's easy to be there, to give them the safe space, to show their emotions and their anger and their grief. But it also has to be dealt with our partner, and then it can be difficult because they know exactly where we can take it personal sometimes. But
Yeah.
that's an amazing test and amazing ego breaker and an opportunity to grow.
Yeah.
So, but
Very true.
sometimes people are getting scared and it's hard for them they don't want to experience that again. But then that's the karma rises. Then they have to experience what they are afraid of and what they are pushing away with another partner, because
Yeah.
it's something also in their selves and in ourselves. And if we don't heal it with the partner we are with now, then then the world will bring us the partner where we have to confront it again, those demons and those inner wants
Yeah.
and things. Not that it's always good to stay with a certain partner that is abusive or yeah.
Yeah. Jovan says he also had an incident yesterday with a family member. It was crazy, but today it's all good.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
so
Yeah.
yeah, I think that love wins, love rules. And so but this is a very a very unique journey that we've all chosen to come to. And
Yes.
there was some talk last week with Unity Grace and I forget who else was talking about. It's the end of the programming. It's the end of the script. We're in a new phase now, and really, really in a new phase. And so, again, we're still carrying these human vessels and the human
Yes.
life experience, and we're still having to let go of things. And again, not the same thing's going to work for everybody. We got to trust ourselves. That's the key: is to trust our own, our own intuition and our own feelings.
Yeah, and it's so important to not make to split the spirit from the physical. It has to transcend. So we have to it's all part of the one big love field, cosmic field. So
There you
yeah.
go. So how was your past week or so? How was that for you?
Yeah, it was a very good week, but also somebody asked me what happens if some of the people you work with or help kills himself, because sometimes they're on the verge of desperation, but then they also have been to a sort of trajectory with psychiatrics, with all the help they wanted to find. So there is I just can do what I can do, but if I don't do nothing, then I sure know that some things can go wrong. So yes, there is somebody who killed herself, but she did it because I didn't respond to her at that
Yeah.
time. But that's a long time ago. So that's before I was working, because a lot of people came already with those problems to me. But okay, it's not professional or learned in a school or through books, but it works. And that's what the importance, I think. And of course, it's a whole responsibility, but yeah, nothing is certain. And I think we do the best we can to help people to find themselves and to be healed and to live the life that they are supposed to live. So
Yeah.
yeah, that were some intense things, and that's when people and because it's sometimes so intense that I work very intuitive, but I know I can trust that fully. The moment I start to think and would do things on the advice that other people would do it, then it doesn't work, because then it's also not naked and not authentic. And
Yeah.
yes, so yeah,
Yeah.
I
But
think
and I think
yes,
we're at the point now where if you're focused on anything external, you're not focused on yourself. And I don't know about you, but what we're all going through requires full attention to yourself all the time. I mean,
yes,
if you want to make it as graceful and as easy as possible, which even then we don't have the perfect flow, but we can get there. But we've got to focus on ourselves.
Yes.
If we catch ourselves hanging on to anything outside of us, that can only mean one thing. We're taking space away from our own personal focus into ourselves, our self-responsibility and all that.
Yeah, then we believe in the illusion of the ever-changing world outside of us, and we sure get disappointed because it's just an for this inside.
So are you going to go to the event in England, in London?
Yeah, I love to go there. I spoke with Lindsay Verona already about it.
Oh yeah. Amanda Lawrence and Linda Starseed Scott are over in, well, Amanda's in Ireland, but Linda's in London.
Okay.
She lives there. She's one of the co-coordinators. She's on here tonight. And so I think there's going to be a big turnout from people in Europe. I've heard Iceland, some people from Holland I know are going.
Yes.
I think Michael right here is going to go. Michael van Domelen from, I think he's over in Israel. He's originally from Holland. We're going to get him back on the show. I don't know if you saw the show we did with him. He was really, really good. But yeah, I think it's going to be really, really spectacular. I really do. I think it's going to be a spectacular second event, and we're just going to keep going from there. Before too long, Morgan and I'll be over there in Amsterdam. We'll do one over there.
Yeah, great. Wow, that would be fantastic. Yes, there is an Open Spirit Festival in a few weeks here in Holland, but I think this would would attract a lot of people, what you are doing.
We're getting there.
Can you handle the pressure sometimes? Because I can imagine that a lot of people are approaching.
It has been, but but it's also I don't know. Yes, it has been. It's been, and even I put a post out the other day. If you want to be on the show or collaborate, send me an email. Send us an email to soulspeaks@gmail.com. And I mean, I probably got, seriously, between Morgan and I and a couple other people, we probably have over 200 messages to go through. But we're getting the channel, the foundation of it started tomorrow with a very good friend of ours that we're staying about 20 miles from their house. He's an IT expert. So we're going to be launching this thing very, very soon. And I know that the people that we need to help us do it are going to step forward. And there's many, many people that have already. And of course, we have plenty of people, qualified people like yourself, who are going to be doing weekly shows, and we're going to fill it up, 1, 2, 3, 4 channels, 24 hours a day, and the rest will take care of itself. It's a self-sustaining 5D type of proposition.
Yes, yeah, and even people are approaching me to be in your show, just like
I saw that. Yeah, I just saw that today. That lady, I can't pronounce her name. But,
she's from Hungary. She's originally from Israel, but she's very high in the spiritual community. She wrote a lot of books. Her man also.
I'm going to reach out to her, and I would encourage you to bring anybody you want. If you find someone you want to talk to, just get them and say, hey, let me go ahead and do a show with whoever, this lady or whoever you want to.
And then we do it on Soulogy.
Yeah, that's the whole idea. Just bring them all to one place.
Great. Yeah.
I'll post that. Somebody's asking here what the email is. So yes, let me just restate that. So anyone that wants to come on a show wouldn't necessarily be me doing the interviewing, because I can only do so many. Send that to, and I'll write it out, soulspeaks@gmail.com, because if you send it through Messenger to me or anybody else involved, we're never gonna get it. And that's also for anyone that would like to develop their own weekly show, 1 hour show that we'll put into the channel feed. We have many, many hours of programming to fill, and we're going to fill it very fast. Then just send me or send us. It's not just going to me. Send us an email to soulspeaks@gmail.com, and I'll post that right now.
Yes, great. Did you find new shoes already?
Actually, I did get a couple of pair. Zaveta's Christian, who transitioned, had a couple of brand new pair of shoes, and Javette wanted me to have them for tennis shoes. So I got a couple of pairs, but I don't have a new pair of boots yet. I'm going to wait till.
No, but you got it.
Yeah, I did actually get to. Yeah, I actually,
because there's so much energy in those shoes.
Oh yeah, there really is. It's beautiful. Wow. It was a beautiful gesture, and the whole thing, the energy of it all has just been beautiful. It really has. Yeah. The event was beautiful. The ceremony that Morgan and I were at the center of was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. Wow. Everything's just flown along as a mirror of a perfecting, awareness and transition that we're in. Yeah.
Very well. Totally.
So do you have anything exciting happen the last few days?
What did I have anything to?
Yeah. Did you have anything exciting happen the last few days?
Yeah. Of course, yeah. But I cannot remember what happened the last day. So many things happen, and time is to me.
Yeah. You're suffering from a light worker memory.
Yeah.
I can't remember what day it is.
No, that's for me the same. That's really incredible.
Yeah.
So it takes a long time because I'm in the moment a lot. Yeah. So that's really good. But what happened yesterday or this morning, I don't know. I can go back to it, and it's somewhere inside of me. And if people talk about it, it's not that I forget the things that I've been into, but no, it's difficult to sum them up. Things. Yeah.
So do you have any ideas for a weekly show? Would you be interested in that?
Yeah.
I think you'd be good. You'd be good for that.
Yeah.
And there's quite a few people involved or supporting or part of Soulogy that are in the Holland area. There's quite a few.
Yeah.
I could go right down a list and name people, but there's quite a few people. So I think that's a good area. It's a good market for it.
Yes, sure.
Yeah.
It's living very hard here. So I for sure know a lot of people I've had some interesting talks with already, and maybe also some people who went through a transition and what happened to them, and to try to help them explain it in their own words. So people who got awakened and people that their life turned upside down, and also people from the professional, how do you call that therapists that had an experience. It's also interesting to interview because I know also them. So that's nice. Perfect. I love it.
So have you had any Kundalini experiences lately?
Well, since I had it's so strange, the orgasm, then it's just like it's so hard to build it up again. So not I'm not no.
What kind of answer is that?
But I feel the energy and it doesn't drop, but it's really hard to
Well, I don't think the intent of it, I mean, at least the intent to me is to, at this point anyway, is to feel it, is to be aware of it, to move it around and be conscious of it. It's not all about having a throat soulgasm, or whatever, but just being aware of it and working with it. I think that's important because so much of what we receive, we had a session today and a lot of the stuff, I saw a lot of things, but I didn't receive like words. We don't receive words, and so much of it is energy. I mean, well, different forms of energy or, sacred geometry, images. And so, but I think that is a real big factor with the people I talk to on the show is they talk about the Kundalini. I had a Kundalini experience in it and this is what happened or that's what happened. And so a lot of times it's an indicator of them, hitting a certain level or awareness, and a lot goes with that.
Yes,
a lot goes with that.
Very interesting, and we all have their own personal experiences with it, and it's very important to help it integrate into their lives. So And that's why I think it's also important that people are mentally sort of awakened to be able to, yeah, see the overview of it a bit more. Because
you talk about that in your book a little bit, don't you?
Yeah. I'm gonna from the part 2. I wrote some stories also about karmic relationships and how to deal with it. It's more about love. So this week I'm gonna send out a chapter about that. So I think that's
on the second book.
Yeah, the second book in the Global Awakening series. Yeah.
So what's it going to be about? What's this chapter about?
It's more in integrating the awakening into the world, into our life, and how
on a personal level.
On a personal, and a lot about relationships.
Yeah. So like if we're talking about the Kundalini, do you actively work with that every single day?
Yes, with Annette, of course, and she really feels the difference when it is active or when it's not active, and how it can influence her life and her energy system. But yes, it's one of the things I work with a lot. Yeah.
So you work with it with your partner? Do you work with it alone?
Yes. I'm fully aware of that. But also with people that come to me that had a Kundalini experience, and they get scared of the intense feelings they have. They sometimes they cannot sleep because all the contractions are suddenly blown out of their body for a while, and then they are totally open, so the energy can flow through them. And then they get scared because they read, oh, if I'm not sleeping, then I'm going crazy, and then they contract again, and then they get the friction. It happens that people don't sleep for a few weeks, but it is not the same as being manic. It can look a bit like that for people.
Right.
So I have to help them with coping with that, and also with people with aggression that suddenly have been playing this role all their life, and they feel like they are being fooled by their the work they do, by the life. But of course they stepped in that themselves on an unconscious level. So then I have to help them to step back of it, and not let the emotion drive them so much, because it's a release of anger and feelings of betrayal and feelings of not being able to control. Also, so sometimes some deeper drives, reliving things. From the times we lived in tribes, and reliving the betrayal of people we trusted, and lost our lives to in former lives.
Right.
It's inside ourselves, and it also comes up once this door to the unconsciousness is open. So some people are not even wanting this Kundalini experience. It just happens to them, and they would rather not have to experience it, because they don't know how to deal it, and they don't want to let go of their old life. But it is stronger than so they make their life really hard, and but it is a really strong process. It is very good. And that's why the awareness is so important about it, to spread the information about it.
Yeah, it needs to be talked about. Look, Sue Baxter fits it. She can definitely move it around. Lately, it's been starting in the sacral, moving up to crown, and then moving back down to the sacral base.
Yeah.
This happens with my twin flame in 5D. He's on the other side. We can have the experience whenever we want. Wow. Yeah, I think that's the main thing, is just keep talking about this stuff. You know, because I'm listening to you right now, and I'm remembering back over the last few years, for different reasons, realizing that some of us, we can be activators of the Kundalini to each other in a very unconscious way.
Yes.
Just by recognition or whatever, code opening up or whatever. I'm having a couple of flashbacks and stuff like that. But this goes way back, and these are even in times when I wasn't in light worker circles. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
But I think the other thing is too is that it is a big part of our natural nature, and it does need to be an awareness of it needs to be expanded, and that can only be done through talking about it. I think that the sacred books and stuff like that have been passed down are important, but again, we're in a different age now. We're in a different time. They weren't going through the same thing we're going through, and so it's a little bit different. So it's important that we place the importance and the respect and the honor about what we're all going through, because we're not little. We're huge. We're huge in the galaxy, huge in the universe. We're huge divine beings, and we have to respect our experience here because we've been told we were so small for so long, and we're not. The human being is a divine part of this universe.
Definitely, yes, sure, true. And that's why I call the book The Next Step in Human Evolution, because I realize now that some people around me I affect, just like Annette, and what you're talking about, you can trigger it with the people around you. This wave is coming and it is lifting us up, and better be prepared for it, or else there is a lot of suffering going along with it if people resist towards it. And because we're going to a next phase in human life, and it is wonderful if you're not aware of the unknown.
Yeah, what's interesting. I want to tell you is I do these shows, right, and some people I talk to, really everyone I talk to, I'm getting some level of downloads as I'm talking to them, which I assume is the multidimensional aspects connected, and they're part of the conversation. Sometimes I get 3 or 4 or 5 voices while I'm talking to the person. It happened to me a couple of days ago, and so I always pick up a lot when I'm talking to you. It's like little doors open up, and I just start getting this information coming in, which leads me to are you finding yourself meeting with more people that are aligned to you as the days go by?
Yes. People approach me, but I'm really, I know, because the first time I was very enthusiastic about it, but I absolutely don't want to push it on people, and I want to work with people that really choosing for the path, and so certainly that things are being guided in a proper way, but of course it's hard to control, and things are going as they go, but things are happening. It's getting more real, but for some people, like you say, when they realize they are divine creatures and the powers they have, and it's hard for them to share that with their friends or their family. So that's also a shift. That's why it's so important that we make it normal, more normal to talk about it. And happily, it is happening right now also. So
that's right.
Yeah.
And this is the place to do it. This is the place to do it. I'm not the only one that's received transmissions. Of course, I've probably received them longer in regard to what this has actually become and becoming, but more and more people have, and not to mention some communications, transmissions, downloads, not just by me or Morgan and other people as well, in regard to galactic communications or multidimensional aspects communications. This is a perpetual broadcast that includes all the voices of the 99.99% that thought they didn't have a voice or couldn't make a difference. And this is how we do this. And like you said earlier, when you heal something in yourself, you're healing the collective.
Yes.
That's why you can have somebody who did years and years of shadow work, inner work, get to a certain point today, and someone who has gained from the work that they've done, even if it hasn't been verbalized or even if it's conscious to that person, they can go right through and fast track right through it.
Yes.
So the same applies for this broadcast. We're moving into a place where, we're having dynamic quantum leaps, and I know this thing's about to take off like crazy, and it's going to be built by all the people that are here, picking up the microphone or putting a post together or whatever, and putting it all into one infinitely evolving network.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah, it's exciting. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
So we're revamping the scheduling. We're going to automate some of it. I'll get with you as we get into it this week, so we can cart instead of jumping around every week, you and me, or at least for you, whatever you want to do on your side creatively with your show. I will reach out to that lady that you gave me the name to, but if you want to do anything, feel free to bring people on. We'll support you here. We can bring up to 4 people on at one time. I think that's probably as many as you want. I mean, we could bring more. But we're going to be bringing a lot of stuff in, the music and some the ability to play videos and all that stuff. And it's going to be available on the app. And I talked to the IT guy last night. I don't want to give up his name right now because I haven't gotten his permission. But I said, he asked me, how are you going to do the app? I said, well, I found this place and I found that place. He said, no, we'll just do our own. So we've got a really ingenious brother that's helping us. I'm going to meet with him tomorrow. And we're going to have this thing ready to go. So we need all the material we can get and all the people's involvement that we can get.
Wow,
so
great.
keep beating the bushes out there and see what you can find. And that's always been the thing for me, because you got to remember, you got 24 hours on one channel, much less 4 channels or more. So even on one channel, you almost have 3 or 4 different markets in each channel. So that part of Europe is asleep when primetime America's happening. So we need to fill in 5, 6, 7 hours a day from each part of the country.
Yes.
So and then if you went to London, I think a lot of collaborations would occur there, because there's a lot of people that are going to go to London for that event on the 7th.
Yes.
It's on the 7th or the 6th. I think it's the 7th or 6th. I think it's the 6th.
But Lindsay found out how to get there, and so I'm going to arrange that, and I'm going to be there.
You got to be there. You're going to be a speaker. All right, man. Great. I'm gonna head out and get ready for the next one.
Okay.
Tell Annette I said hi. You guys keep doing what you're doing. We'll do that. We'll get together again next week. And, we'll make something happy. Happy summer solstice.
Yes.
Everybody be aware of that. And we got a big full moon coming on the 27th. So I think from the 21st to the 27th, and 2 or 3 days ahead and after are going to be huge. We're already in it basically.
Yeah.
We're 3 days in front of the solstice now. So I think the rest of this month, you can pretty much say it's going to be, button your seatbelt, buckle your seatbelts, right?
Exactly. It's going to be a wonderful ride.
Yeah. All right. You take care, Hank. I love you.
Okay. Love you, Todd. See you later. Bye.
Yes, sir. Peace out, everybody.